Hey there! Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is you're watching, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact character review. In today's review, we are taking a look at YAO YAO. YAO YAO is our newest Dendro character. She is a 4-star Dendro polearm, and I wasn't gonna really... I was thinking of maybe making a video on YAO YAO when I saw that they were gonna release her and such. She has been teased from the very beginning of the game, but one thing changed my view on YAO YAO completely, and that was this. Oh yes, baby. So yeah, we got another Nier character. We got a voice actor that also does someone in Nier. This is our second one, and our first one is Baizu. He is the protagonist in the first Nier game, Nier Replicant, and funnily enough, Emil is also a main character in the same game, so it's really interesting. But I was really happy, and I'm gonna be honest, I actually kind of predicted this. The day before the live stream, I was discussing with a bunch of friends what voice actor could they pick perhaps for YAO YAO, and I was like, I wouldn't, I was like, they could perhaps pick Emil, but she would not sound like Emil, and I fucking got it. So, yep. Here we are. YAO YAO gets special treatment because of the voice actor. So, I guess we should immediately begin with a general review. So, in general, YAO YAO is a very solid unit. She consolidates a few roles and allows Dendro teams to be more flexible with their units. So, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest, there was no way they would make a bad Liyue character that they have teased since the beginning of the game, right? Even if she is a 4-star, there was no way she's gonna be bad, which kind of really scares me. It absolutely destroys my hope for Kave, not for Baizu, but let's leave those for their own times. So yeah, that's the general idea. She's really good, but we're not gonna know why she's good, so let's dive into her kit to see what she does. I won't go into details about her attacks. They look nice, but nothing important is tied to them, so to the skill we go. YAO YAO's skill summons Yuegue, a cute little bunny that shoots radishes. You can tap this skill to quickly summon Yuegue, or hold it for a precise throw, but you will never really do this even in the overworld. Yuegue has two different targeting options. He will target your characters if they are below 70% HP, and he will target enemies otherwise. If no enemies are present, then Yuegue will target your characters until their HP is full, which is really nice since characters like Bennett or Sayu, right, you're running them in the overworld, they cannot heal you above 70%, right, especially Bennett. Right, so maybe in the overworld, right, if you got the OCD that you want those health bars to be full, YAO YAO fulfills that, thankfully. And as from that, because of that, you can, I think, guess that Yuegue's radishes heal allies and damage enemies. When the radishes hit anything, they will explode, and those explosions cause these effects, which means that if enemies are close to you, or you are close to enemies, you can get healed and also damage enemies. The damage is not the main focus of the radishes, and it shows because they deal no damage, by the way. As for the heals, they are decent. Not Chi-Chi or Kokomi levels, maybe even Bennett levels, but they do their job. My YAO YAO, as an example, with 2 HP, 2 main stat HP artifacts, and at level 90, heals for about 1.2 to 1.3k per radish, and she's around 35,000 HP. That is also at level 7 talents, and with YAO YAO being a 4-star, there are at least decent possibilities that at some point you will get the +3 levels at the skill, so the heals will become a bit stronger. And then YAO YAO's first Ascension talent is tied to the radishes, where when your characters get hit by them, they will also get a few heal ticks for a small period of time based on YAO YAO's max HP. Pretty fine, that's okay. As for Yuegue as well, he has a duration of 10 seconds, and the skill has a cooldown of 14 to 15 seconds. It depends, with the animation a bit and how fast you can cancel it, which is decent in some quick swap teams. You might need to find some ways to waste a bit of time because it might still be on cooldown once you reach YAO YAO through the rotation, but in most teams, Yuegue should disappear and the skill should be ready once you rotate in, again, non-so quick swap teams. And also for most of teams, the YAO YAO's heals are pretty good, but maybe against some bosses or in something like Nilou Bloom or Burgeon, there might be a need for more heals. And this is where YAO YAO's burst comes into play. When YAO YAO uses her burst, she enters this pseudo-adepti form where she will constantly spawn Yuegues behind her, up to 3 of them. These Yuegue have a bit higher multipliers for both heals and damage, but their biggest differences are 1. Compared to the skill Yuegue, which lasts for 10 seconds as mentioned, these Yuegue last for 5 seconds combined, which means that the first one will last the longest, while the last Yuegue spawned will last for a smaller amount of time. Secondly, these Yuegue will disappear if YAO YAO leaves the field while the skill one doesn't. And lastly, these Yuegue will spawn radishes which heal characters even if they are hitting enemies. And also, they heal the entire party. This makes them do some crazy burst healing on the entire party, and it is insane. Like, your characters can take so much damage and just pop a burst and just everybody's back to full health. I do really wish, though, that they lasted longer and they didn't disappear, to be honest. That would make YAO YAO just insane as a nice, decent off-field applicator. And I mean, she wouldn't also not necessarily become burst reliant. It would just be nice. But hey, that's that. Also, when YAO YAO is in this Adepti form, she gains a big chunk of Dendro resistance, which makes it clear that miHoYo wants you to run her in a Nilou Bloom team. And through her second Ascension talent, which is tied to the burst, when YAO YAO sprints or jumps during her burst, she will also summon radishes herself. A fun concept, not gonna lie, to add to a character like YAO YAO, and it looks really fun and cute in co-op, but in practice this isn't anything crazy. YAO YAO usually isn't on the field for a much amount of time, even if you pop the burst, right? So this kind of goes to waste, but it's nice and fun. But I have saved the best for last. This applies to all Yuegues, and is something that absolutely surprised me when I first tested YAO YAO. Yuegue has random targeting, which means that Yuegue will not just stick to attacking the same enemy throughout its duration. He will switch targets after shooting 2 to 3 radishes. It's not necessarily range, it's not necessarily because of closest enemy or something. There's no condition for an enemy that Yuegue meets to shoot them. It just switches targets. So yeah, this is insanely good. While it isn't exactly AoE Dendro application, it is far better than just single targeting where Yuegue will shoot at an enemy until it dies or disappears or gets outside of the range. So yeah, this makes YAO YAO significantly better, and of course they had to put something like this on a Liyue character to make them really good. Cover. So that's the base kit. As for constellations, YAO YAO is perfect at C0, and her most important con is her first one, so it's really easy to get. YAO YAO's C1 makes it so whenever radishes explode, either on enemies or you, your characters gain 15% Dendro damage bonus, and they restore 15 stamina. The buff lasts for 8 seconds and can be refreshed, and the stamina restoration can happen every 5 seconds. Just an absolutely insane C1 for a simple healer character. Ahem, Liga China, what? What? And so this makes it that if you get one YAO YAO from a banner, it's a very easy way to get C1 from Lantern Rite. As for other cons, C2 is a bit of energy, C4 gives her a bit of EM based on her HP, which isn't really that important. Maybe on some teams it helps, but it's again not important. And C6 is a bit of stronger heals. So, no, like again, Constellations, just the C1 is really busted for a 4-star healer that deals no damage and just have a free buff at C1. So yeah, YAO YAO is a really, really good 4-star. Looks at Farazan. miHoYo, you fucks. Let's move on. I'm sorry for those jokes, but I can't with the recent stuff. What we got lately is yeah, I'm in pain. But let's move on to artifacts. Let's just move on. So for sets, artifact sets, the main one is Deepwood. I mean, YAO YAO, Dendro support, applies Dendro semi-AoE. Deepwood is a no-brainer, right? But if YAO YAO is the only Dendro character, in the party, so there is no need to reduce the Dendro resistance since nobody's really doing any Dendro damage or you're not playing Bloom, right? Then Tenacity of the Millilith is the best set, right? A bit of extra HP for better heals, and of course the attack buff, which Yao Yao can easily keep up. I did think of recommending or even trying out some 4-star artifacts, but it is possible that Yao Yao will not get good enough stats to heal well. So it will really depend on the team you're running and the content you're up against, and also how much you're gonna invest into Yao Yao, how many levels you're gonna give her and everything. It's, again, if the 4-star stats are enough for you, then that's fine, but from my experience, I believe that 5-star artifacts are definitely needed. As for main stats, HP is the main thing you're hunting for the heals, while energy recharge is also good, but it isn't very important since Yao Yao's skill should be enough to heal you. But the main reason to hunt for ER is to have the burst ready as an emergency heal option, right? You took a lot of damage, a boss did a very powerful attack, and you just want to quickly push that emergency heal and then go again with your rotation. This happens, of course, because in most teams you don't want to waste time with Yao Yao on the field constantly pushing the burst when you don't need it. But of course, an emergency button should always be available to be pushed, so do hunt for some ER. Whether that comes from a weapon or your artifacts is up to you to decide. As for the usual builds, they are all HP all the way to just absolutely maximize heals, and most likely you will run an ER weapon, ER, HP, and HP with ER or HP weapon, whatever you want, or HP, HPA, and crit for a Favonius Lance if you are lacking crit rate, of course, to constantly proc Favonius Lance. Depending on the team, you might want to give her Elemental Mastery, but those teams are kind of far and they're very, very few. I've seen a few Nilu Blooms maybe running EM on Yao Yao, but it's not really common. Maybe some EM, but not a full EM build. And that's for artifacts. Let's move on to teams then. Yao Yao's main thing, right, is working as a second Dendro for the resonance and also bringing in heals and a bit of Dendro application. She has decent battering capabilities, which right now really are only useful for Al-Haytham, but that's really the main reason you pick Yao Yao in a team. Second Dendro, get the nice resonance. She applies a bit of Dendro, which isn't needed since you most likely have a Dendro main DPS, but the heals is a big thing, which allows you to expand to other characters instead of finding a healer. Otherwise, as a solo Dendro, she is very good for Aggravate Kaching since she takes the healer role, so thus you can bring more offensive support. And other than that, it's kind of up to you. It really depends if the team you are building would benefit from Dendro reactions and if Yao Yao can fulfill those requirements on that team. Still waiting for a perfect Seno Aggravate support. And yeah, you can slaughter in a lot of stuff. Again, double Dendro and a solo Dendro, right? Do you want the Dendro reactions? Cool, she's here. And then lastly, let's look at weapons. As I mentioned before, the main thing you're hunting from weapons is either HP or ER, so with a very, very big maybe on EM, so your choices are not that many, but there are some cool ones. From 3 stars even, there's the Black Tassel you can get from the gacha system. It's got HP, and that's about it. Any HP scaling character, of course, that is Polearm, likes Black Tassel, especially if they are support, a la Zhongli, perhaps as a shield bot, or here Yao Yao. So Black Tassel is very, very much good, and that's about it. Dragon's Bane is not that good because yes, it has the EM, but again, very rare to see EM on Yao Yao, and I don't think she can really keep up with the effect to deal a good amount of damage. So it's not really. Give it to a Zhanling or a Huta. Prototype Star Glitter is just good for the ER. I mean, that's about it. Favonius Lance is one of the best ones because it gives a plenty amount of ER, and of course it has the particle generating passive, which isn't necessarily for Yao Yao herself. It's for your team. If Yao Yao catches the particles, well, those particles will also be put. All of your characters will get energy. Or the main reason is proccing the Favonius Lance with Yao Yao and then switching to your main character to battery them, a la Al-Haytham, really. That's mostly the character that hunts Favonius Lance with Yao Yao. And to be honest, I thought that she wouldn't be that good at proccing it because throwing Yuego and then switching out was just too soon. But she seems to proc it pretty decently, and then 1 or 2 attacks at around 50-ish crit rate is very much enough to proc it. So she's actually pretty decent with Favonius Lance, which again, I after a bit of trying, nice. After that, the catch just has ER, but you can also just craft a prototype Star Glitter or, fish for a catch if you're not using Raiden or Janling. It's your choice. It just has ER. Moonpiercer is decent. It's got EM, which, again, depending on the team, you might just absolutely not need. While its main thing, of course, is the buff. It gets, you spawn the seed, the leaf, which gives an attack buff to whoever picks it up. A good buff... but it's not really recommended compared to just running ER or most likely running ER or Black Tassel on Yao Yao. Like, it can mess up with rotations trying to catch the leaf and such. Like, sure, it looks nice as well on Yao Yao, but again, ER weapons and other weapons in general are more recommended than Moonpiercer. And after that, really, if you go for... there aren't any really 4-star options, there's 5 stars. And again, it's mostly for ER needs. Skyward Spine has ER, but it actually gets less ER than some 4-star weapons. And then after that, Engulfing Lightning, I guess, for even more ER. But I have heard, I believe, of people running like Staff of Scarlet Sands, like Senno's weapon on her, to try and make her a bit of damaging. Like, it's kinda weird, but you do you, I guess. If you want to run Staff of Scarlet Sands on Yao Yao to just, I don't know what team you're gonna be running that, feel free. But again, it's mostly ER weapons, maybe a Black Tassel for the HP, depends on what main stats you're running on your artifacts. But again, a bit of ER to have the emergency burst always ready, and mostly HP to just maximize heals. There aren't unfortunately some of pole arms that raise healing capabilities, so I can't recommend. I can recommend that because again it doesn't exist. And that's it. That's Yao Yao. All in all, again, the kit is amazing. It's simple yet effective, especially of course the random targeting on Yuegue. Very, very cute. The bunnies look just amazing, and I absolutely cannot wait for MiHoYo to make plushies out of them. I 100% expect them to do that. But yeah, what can I say? I was surprised when I saw the random targeting. She works really well as a second Dendro for double Dendro Resonance. Let's see if Baizu will dethrone her, I guess. Maybe that will be it. So yeah, if you've noticed, the background footage is from the streams as well as the previous videos that I've done. I just wanted to mention this. To come to the stream, it's in the description. We're on Twitch. We're live basically every day playing lots of cool stuff. And yeah, I think we are done here. Next up is, of course, Sexy Man Al-Haytham. He's gonna be out soon, don't worry. Because the banner is almost over. I need to make it before the banner ends. But yeah, I'll see you in another video or the streams. Please come. It's nice. It's a nice chill stream, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.